do the heart valve work? They maintain one-way blood flow. The traffic of one way, not two way. This is the rule of the heart. The blood should come from the left atrium to the left ventricle. The blood should come from the right atrium to the right ventricle. The blood should go from the left ventricle to the aorta, not from the aorta to the left ventricle. The one-way traffic. One-way ticket. It is one-way traffic. There are four valves which we want to discuss. If they are diseased, their efficacy will be gone, and their proper function at the time of the systole and diastole will be gone. So the disease occurs in the person. These are the heart valves in front of you, four valves which I have just mentioned. Only remember is this, that metal valve, they are flappy valve, they are flaps. There are two flaps. And in the tricuspid valve there are three flaps. They are flappy type of valves. But pulmonary valves and aortic valves, they are disc type of valves. There are three discs present in these two valves. They close like a disc if they are approximated together. And the floppy type of valve will definitely close. जैसे थैला जो एक है, अगर दो थैले लेने हैं उनको आप खोलें या बंद करें, खोलें या बंद करें. इसको उसके अंदर हवा भरें, नीचे डालें, इसको फिर ऊपर उठा दें. इस तरह से वो खुल जाएगा या बंद हो जाएगा. This is how the floppy valves will cause their function. There are two types of the disease. It means अगर ये valve, if it is stenosis, small हो जाए और blood pass नहीं हो पाए, it is called stenosis. या ये valve जो था, जो normally function कर रहा था, if it is ये चौड़ा हो जाए, wide हो जाए, open हो जाए, ये बंद नहीं हो पाए, this is called regurgitation or insufficiency of the valve. So there are two types of the diseases of every valve, whether it is a metal valve or any other valve is concerned. So valvular, it is regurgitation or valvular stenosis. Both can cause effect on the heart and from the heart to the whole body. The principal causes of the stenosis is congenital, main causes. Rheumatic carditis and senile degeneration. As far as valvular regurgitation is concerned, the rheumatic carditis, congenital infective endocarditis, valve ring dilatation because of enlargement of the heart, or dilated cardiomyopathy, syphilitic aortitis, traumatic valve rupture, damage to the chordae tendineae or papillary muscles. Like for example, myocardial infarction can cause the infarction of the papillary muscle. Senile degeneration. These are the commonest causes of the valve stenosis or valve regurgitation. So these are the diseases which are in front of you. Mitral stenosis and mitral regurgitation is the most commonest diseases asked in the examination. Followed by the aortic stenosis and aortic regurgitation. There are four diseases which can be asked many times in your life. Otherwise, the tricuspid stenosis or tricuspid regurgitation or pulmonary stenosis or pulmonary regurgitation are rare diseases. They are very not commonly seen in cardiology. So we start with the mitral stenosis. Stenosis. It is the narrowing of the valve, almost rheumatic in origin in most of the people of the world. Mitral valve may be involved alone. It may be involved with the aortic valve in 20% of cases. Three valves can be involved in about 7 to 8% of cases. Four valves are involved in the rheumatic disease in about 1 to 2% of cases. All valves are involved. Tetravalvular disease. 80% of cases the metal valve is involved in rheumatic disease. Older people can be caused by the heavy calcification of the metal valve. Calcification occur. It's a degenerative process, can cause stenosis, but it is rare. And congenital again is rare. It is hardly seen in a million of people. The normal valve's diameter is 5 centimeter. 4 centimeter, 3 centimeter, no problem. But if it is less than 1.5 centimeter, the symptoms will appear. If it is less than 1 centimeter, the symptoms will be definitely higher. And less than 0.5 centimeter is a severe type of a problem with the patient. And the survival is very, very difficult. So pathophysiology, there is stenosis or fibrosis, narrowing of the valve. It means the blood which is coming from the pulmonary veins into the left atrium will stay, and the amount of the blood which is coming after the opening of the valve in the left ventricle will be low. Definitely. The end diastolic volume of the left ventricle will become lower and lower. So stroke volume will be lower. And the symptom appears in this case. On this side there is, because of the stroke volume is slow, the whole body is affected with the slow stroke volume. On the other hand, the back pressure of the left atrium into the left on the pulmonary veins and indirectly into the lungs, where the pulmonary pressure increases in the veins and then in the arteries, there will be the secondary pulmonary hypertension, which will affect on the pulmonary valve. Pulmonary valve will become insufficient and pulmonary regurgitation occur. The right ventricle is affected in this way, and there is more blood coming into the right ventricle, and the higher pressure occurs in the right ventricle, which affects on the tricuspid valve, and again the tricuspid valve will become insufficient or regurgitation occur. And the same fashion, the right atrium will be affected and there is high pressure occur in the right atrium. This is the pathophysiology, and the symptoms occur because of this. So the narrowing of the metal valve will cause the increased left atrial pressure, which causes the pulmonary pressure to increase, pulmonary congestion. They will reduce oxygenation, higher carbon dioxide exchange, fatigue, dyspnea, orthopnea. It is the right-sided failure. On the other hand, the blood flow into the left ventricle is reduced. So the cardiac output or stroke volume is reduced, left ventricular atrophy occurs and fatigue occurs. And again, the hypertrophy of the left atrium occurs because of the high pressure and high volume in the left atrium. The clinical features are the breathlessness. There will be chest pain because of this, hemoptysis, fatigue, edema, ascites, palpitation occur because of the enlargement of the left atrium will cause atrial fibrillation, and the thromboembolic complications do occur because if there is stasis, there will be mural thrombosis, and if it breaks down, it will cause systemic embolism and it can cause the cerebrovascular accident. The clinical features are atrial fibrillation, irregular pulse, and there will be pulses deficit also. Mitral phases, abnormal flushing on the cheeks that occurs from the cutaneous vasodilatation because of the reshifting of the blood. Auscultation, you will find there is a loud first sound because of the closures. ये valve जो है it is fibrous valve, अगर क्लोज होगा तो उसका आवाज़ बहुत ज़्यादा होगी. Loud first sound, and afterwards there is opening snap. The opening snap is there, which is created by the forceful opening of the mitral valve. इसके बाद चूँकि सेकंड फेज शुरू होने वाला होता है, it is followed by a mid diastolic murmur. अब ब्लड को ऊपर से नीचे आ रहा है, एक नैरो वेल्व के ऊपर आएगा अगर ब्लड रगड़ खाता हुआ तो मिड डायस्टोलिक मर्मर प्रोड्यूस होगा, लिहाजा इसमें क्या होगा, फर्स्ट हार्ट साउंड जो होगी वो लाउड होगी। हो सकता है आपको ओपनिंग स्नैप भी मिल जाए और उसके बाद आपको डायस्टोलिक मर्मर मिल जाए। तो फर्स्ट हार्ट साउंड जो है लब ज़्यादा होगा, उसके बाद गैप आएगा एंड देयर विल बी अ डब नॉर्मल लब डब जो है लब ज़्यादा होगा, डब कम होगा, ओपनिंग स्नैप इस टाइप की साउंड एंड फॉलोड बाय अ मिड डायस्टोलिक मर्मर। डायस्टोल के मिड में आके इस टाइप की साउंड आएगी। तो ये जो काम हो रहा है ये सारा का सारा जो है ये फर्स्ट हार्ट साउंड की लाउड होने के बाद सेकंड हार्ट साउंड जो है जो कि नॉर्मल है उसके बाद हो रहा है। ये ख्याल कीजिएगा इसका। Mid diastolic murmur will be heard at the apex. It will be accentuated with exercise. It is radiated to the axilla mostly. There will be associated crepitations, pulmonary edema, effusions, raised pulmonary pressure की वजह से. And there is the right ventricular heave. I already said the right ventricle will become enlarged and the volume is increased. And there will be the P2 will be loud because of the pulmonary regurgitation. There will be secondary pulmonary hypertension. Investigation we do the ECG, chest X-ray, echo, Doppler and cardiac catheterization. What you see in the X-ray is the heart जो है उसका इतना size ज़्यादा आपको नहीं मिलेगा. What you see on the left border there is a bulging of the left atria. This is the first sign you see in the mitral stenosis. There are 9 other signs which you see in X-ray in the mitral stenosis. because टाइम की शॉर्टेज है मैं सारे के सारे एक्सरे नहीं दिखा सकता। बट इसके साथ जो है ना वो और एक्सरेज भी होती हैं। देयर इज स्ट्रेटिंग ऑफ द लेफ्ट बॉर्डर ऑफ द हार्ट भी हो जाती है इसमें, बल्जिंग ऑफ द राइट पल्मोनरी कोनस हो जाती है इसके अंदर, डबल राइट हार्ट बॉर्डर भी हो जाता है इसके अंदर। इसके अंदर लॉट ऑफ चेंजेस इन लंग्स कार्ली बी साइंस और ये आपको सारी चीज़ें मिलती हैं। फिर कंजस्टिव चेंजेस मिलती हैं इसमें आपको, और इसके अंदर आपको जो है वो इवन इफ्यूजन मिलता है और फ्रैंक पल्मोनरी एडिमा मिलता है। mitral stenosis का इसी बड़ा कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स है। द पी वेव रिप्रेजेंट्स द एक्टिविटी, एट्रियल एक्टिविटी। हियर इट इज ब्रॉड एंड इट इज स्प्लिटेड। ये ब्रॉड हो जाती है, ये 3 जो है स्मॉल स्क्वायर से बड़ी हो जाती है। 0.04 सेकेंड का एक स्मॉल स्क्वायर होता है, 3 स्मॉल स्क्वायर होते हैं 0.12 सेकेंड। इफ द पी वेव ब्रॉड हो जाए और 0.12 सेकेंड से ज़्यादा हो, दिस इज मीन दैट दिस इज द एट्रियल हाइपरट्रॉफी, लेफ्ट एट्रियल हाइपरट्रॉफी। दिस इज ऑल्सो नोन एज द पी मेट्रेली विच इज सीन इन लीड 2, लीड 3 और AVF इसमें आपको नज़र आ रही है। स्प्लिटिंग आपको नज़र आ रही है PVF की, बहुत क्लियर कट। दिस मैनेजमेंट ये एंटीकोगुलेशन, लेकिन हम मेडिकली क्या कर सकते हैं? एंटीकोगुलेशन टू रिड्यूस द रिस्क ऑफ द सिस्टमिक एम्बोलिज्म बिकॉज ऑफ दी आपको एट्रियल फिब्रिलेशन को कंट्रोल करना पड़ता है। हार्ट रेट को कंट्रोल करने के लिए डिजॉक्सिन, बीटा ब्लॉकर्स और रेट लिमिटिंग कैल्शियम एंटागोनिस्ट कैन बी गिवन, और डायरेटिक्स देते हैं इसमें टू कंट्रोल द पल्मोनरी कंजेशन। इसके साथ मैं जो देता हूँ हमेशा जो है ना पेंसिलिन जी देते, हमेशा पेंसिलिन बेंजाथीन पेंसिलिन सॉरी मैं देता हूँ इसमें, मंथली देता हूँ बिकॉज अदर वेल्स आर इन डेंजर नाउ, वो भी मैं इसमें देता हूँ। और मैं इसमें जो है वो आफ्टर लोड एजेंट भी देता हूँ। इन मोस्ट ऑफ द केसेस आई गिव द स्मॉल डोजेस, इन वेरी स्मॉल डोजेस द एस इनहिबिटर्स। तो पक्का जो ट्रीटमेंट है इसका वो सर्जिकल है या माइट्रल बैलून प्लास्टिक कराते हैं आप, खासतौर पे प्रेगनेंसी में बड़ी फ़ायदेमंद चीज़ है। माइट्रल वेल्वेटमी हो सकती है, ये आपको विदाउट ओपन हार्ट सर्जरी हो सकती है, इंट्रावास्कुलर सर्जरी थ्रू आप कैथेटर बेस्ड सर्जरी कर सकते हैं। और ओपन हार्ट सर्जरी में वाल्व रिप्लेसमेंट होगा। यंग पीपल में मैकेनिकल वाल्व डाला जाएगा और जो ओल्ड पीपल हैं उनके अंदर टिश्यू वाल्व डाला जाएगा। ये चीज़ जो है ना समझ में आनी चाहिए. The thing is this, now we start with the material regurgitation now. What is the material regurgitation? वो हमें देखना है. So, we are discussing the material regurgitation now. And the material regurgitation, there is insufficiency of the valve. Basically, there is insufficiency of the valve. The valve becomes insufficient to hold the blood properly in the left atrium, and the blood, all blood which is collected in the left atrium will go now into the left ventricle during the diastole, all blood. Even in systole, the blood comes into the left ventricle. The left ventricle is overloaded. This is how the material regurgitation occurs. But etiology, again, the same etiology. Rheumatic heart disease will cause first of fibrosis, and there is, the fibrosis, there is relaxation occur. And because of this, there is a loosening of the space. This is called the annulus fibrosis, and the valve becomes insufficient, and the mitral valve prolapse is another disease, dilatation of the left ventricle, which will also stretch the chorda tendineae and the commissure of the valve, and will cause the regurgitation. Damage to the valve cusps and the chorda tendineae itself can cause. For example, endocarditis will cause the damage to the cusp and the chorda tendineae. It is due to the rheumatic heart disease. Also, the cusps are involved, the chorda tendineae involved, the papillary muscles are involved even. The ischemia or the infarction of the papillary muscle itself, it is supplied by the left descending artery, which is the branch of the coronary artery, left coronary artery. It is rarely seen, although, but it is one of the cause of the mitral regurgitation. You pick how, when we pick this finding in a very severe chest pain in the precordium, we diagnose that the infarction of the papillary muscle occurs, which causes the mitral regurgitation, which causes the added sound, the murmur. A murmur in a chest wall, precordial, in a very, very, dramatic appearance, is the cause of the acute myocardial infarction, and it is the blockage of the left ascending artery. That ascending artery, descending artery of the wall of the anterior wall of the heart. That is called LDA, left descending artery. It is the blockage of this. The ischemia occur and the papillary muscle is dysfunction. Pathophysiology is that the blood stays in the left ventricle more, the atria is empty, and there is a heavy load on the left ventricle. You want to push the blood into the aorta as much as the power of the heart has, but fails. So the back pressure occurs from the left ventricle and into the left atrium, and it mounts again. The left atrial pressure will be increased. In the same fashion, the pulmonary pressure will be increased. Pulmonary venous pressure, then pulmonary arterial pressure, secondary pulmonary hypertension occur, which will affect on the pulmonary valve, which will cause pulmonary regurgitation, and it will cause the increase in the volume of the right ventricle also, which will affect on the tricuspid valve again, and the tricuspid valve become regurgitant again. The same type of pathophysiology as in the mitral stenosis. The only thing is this: the left ventricle has got plenty of blood, the plenty of the blood which cannot be emptied properly. This is the difference between the two. So, the pathophysiology is that the incomplete closure of the matter will cause the backflow of the blood to the left atrium. And the volume is reduced volume of the blood ejected by the left ventricle, so the stroke volume is reduced, cardiac output is reduced. On the other hand, the left atrial pressure will be increased and left atrial hypertrophy occurs. If the left atrial hypertrophy occurs, it will cause atrial fibrillation. The pulmonary pressure will occur, secondary pulmonary hypertension will occur, the right ventricular pressure will cause higher and higher. There will be tachycardic regurgitation as well. The mitral regurgitation occurred because of the mitral valve prolapse in younger people. It is the second commonest cause of the mitral regurgitation, caused by the congenital anomalies or the degenerative myxomatous changes or the feature of the connective tissue, like for example in case of the Marfan syndrome it may be associated mitral valve prolapse. It is also called flappy valve. It is also known as Barlow's syndromes. The clinical manifestation, the symptoms are concerned is that there will be fatigue and weakness, because of the reduced cardiac output. Exertional dyspnea and cough will occur because of the congestion. There will be palpitation because of the atrial fibrillation, irregular pulse, and the pulse deficit. There will be edema, there will be ascites because of the right side is filled. There will be a dependent edema. The heart is failing day by day. The signs are the atrial fibrillation, there will be cardiomegaly. The apex will be shifted to from 7.5 centimeter to 10 centimeter or more than that from the middle line. There will be a pansystolic murmur because the valve will not close properly. It should close properly. If it is not closed properly, then there will be a pansystolic murmur. The murmur occurs from S1. Why S1 occurs? Because of the closure of the mitral valve. If the closure of the mitral valve and the opening of the pulmonary, the aortic valve, the valve is not opened properly. Because it is not opened properly, there is gush of the blood comes into the left ventricle and causes the murmur, which starts from whole of the systole. It is called the pansystolic murmur plus thrill. There will be soft S1. The sound is, or the first sound is very soft because the closure sound is gone, and there will be a third sound appear, the apical S3 that is called. There will be signs of the venous congestion. You find the fine capped trumpetation at the basis. There will be signs of the pulmonary hypertension and right failure also. Jugular venous pressure will be increased. The investigation will be done, the ECG, the chest X-ray, the echo and the Doppler and the cardiac catheterization. The ECG, the same finding you will find. There will be P matrally, which I have previously described. On the X-ray chest you find the heart is enlarged and there are congestive changes are seen in the lungs. In the echo you will find how much dilatation of the valve occurs. Doppler will show how much regurgitation has occurred. Cardiac catheterization will confirm the dilated left atrium or left ventricle, etc. And pulmonary mitral regurgitation and pulmonary hypertension and other coexisting artery disease, cardiac catheterization. The management medically will be the same. Reduce the preload by giving the diuretics, reduce the afterloads by giving the vasodilators like ACE inhibitors. If the patient in the atrial fibrillation, you give the anticoagulant and digoxin. But the main treatment is to replace the valve. In the young people, it is the mechanical valve. In the old people, it will be tissue valve. Coming to the aortic stenosis, the aortic valve is very important valve. all of the blood of the left ventricle is now going into the aorta through the aortic valve. And then it is distributed to the whole body. It got three cusps. It is tricuspid valve. It is not bicuspid valve, it is tricuspid valve. And it is a sliding type of a valve. Discs, there are three discs. Now, narrowing will cause the problems. The etiology in infants and children and adults and congenital aortic stenosis may be there, or there may be congenital subvalvular aortic stenosis, or there will be congenital subvalvular aortic stenosis. Supravalvular, it may be subvalvular. Young adults to the middle age, it may be calcification and fibrosis of the congenitally bicuspid aortic valve, or the rheumatic aortic stenosis. This is the cause which I have seen much. In the middle age to elderly, the senile degeneration aortic stenosis occurs. We see cases after the age of 80 years. Calcification of the bicuspid valve and the rheumatic aortic stenosis. This is the cause which you usually see at the age of 50 to 60 years of the age. You usually see aortic stenosis. Now the pathophysiology is this: the blood is present in the left ventricle, but it is not emptied into the aorta. So there is a pressure gradient occurs between the aorta and the left ventricle. So the end diastolic volume of the left ventricle is much higher, and the blood is not properly propelled into the aorta. The result is this: the whole body is affected. In the heart is concerned, the back pressure again will affect on the wall of the left ventricle. It become dilated, and dilatation can cause the mitral valve to become regurgitant. Again, the vicious cycle occurs on that side also. Pathophysiology is described like stiffening, narrowing of the aortic will cause the left ventricular hypertrophy, and it will cause the compression of the coronary arteries, and the oxygen supply will be reduced, and there will be myocardial ischemia because of the low cardiac output and stroke volume. On the other hand, the incomplete emptying of the left atrium will cause the pulmonary congestion and the right-sided heart failure. Vicious circle occurs. Clinical feature is triad, very common one. Number one is the angina pectoralis, triad number one. Triad number two in this case is syncope, and third one is the exhaustion dyspnea. There are three things who are cardinal symptoms or triad. This should be remembered by the student. The patient can die at any time because of the dysarrhythmias, many dysarrhythmias including the atrial fibrillation. The signs you find because of the stenotic valve, the valve will not open properly, there will be the sound, ejection, systolic murmur. This murmur occurs after the first heart sound, and it is a murmur like shh, shh, this type of a sound. Eject type of a murmur. It can be transmitted into the carotid arteries. The slow rising carotid pulse or a slow rising radial pulse can occur in this. Thirsty apex beat can occur because of left pressure overload. Heaving type of apex beat, and there will be narrow pulse pressure because of the low blood coming in the aorta. Signs of the pulmonary venous congestion is there, like crepitations. Investigation of electrocardiography, the left ventricular hypertrophy is visible and left bundle block block. Chest X-ray will be normal in most of the cases, but enlarged left ventricle and dilated ascending aorta is seen if the condition is severe. An echo, the calcified valve and restricted opening can be demonstrated, In the Doppler, again, the same thing will say that the most of the blood is remaining in the left ventricle, it is not going in the aorta. There is a pressure gradient, higher pressure gradient. The cardiac catheterization will definitely identify the coronary artery disease to see that it is normal or not because of the management purposes. Management is that the asymptomatic aortic stenosis, we give the drugs, the same drugs which I have used previously in the mitral regurgitation mitral stenosis, along with the, but remember, the drugs should be given in a very low dosage, or those drugs are used where there is no hypertension. If there is hypertension, the coronary ischemia will worse. So we do not give the high potency drugs. This is the message. In moderate to severe stenosis, Doppler echocardiogram or symptomatic patient is very symptomatic, the valve replacement will be the choice. In the young people, the mechanical valve Edwards or Starr Edwards valve which should be replaced, and in the old people, tissue valves will be used. In congenital aortic stenosis, the aortic balloon valvuloplasty or any pregnancy, aortic balloon valvuloplasty is the good choice. Atrial fibrillation will be controlled by giving the anticoagulation with low dose of the calcium channel blockers. Now, aortic regurgitation is another condition which should be discussed. The valve is insufficient to hold the blood properly from the aorta, so the blood from the aorta, now it is not properly go to the peripheral vessels, rather than it will come back again into the left ventricle. So the causes are congenital, the bicuspid valve or the disproportionate cusp, acquired again the rheumatic disease, which is the commonest cause which I have seen. Infective endocarditis, yes, another important cause. Trauma to the chest wall is another cause. Aortic dilatation, Marfan syndrome, aneurysm, syphilis, dissection of the aorta is another cause of the aortic regurgitation, acute aortic regurgitation. Now, pathophysiology, I already said that if you are holding the blood into the left ventricle and you are not giving the blood to the aorta, so the ischemia occurs to the different part of the body, and also to the coronary ischemia occurs. Mostly these people come with the severe type of the angina pectoralis. Incomplete closure of the aortic valve will cause the backflow of the blood to the left ventricle. It will cause the left ventricle hypertrophy and dilatation, left-sided heart failure, and reduced cardiac output on the one hand. On the other hand, the increased left atrial pressure, because of the back pressure is increased, the left atrial hypertrophy, it will cause the atrial fibrillation, and it will cause the pulmonary pressure to increase. It will affect on the right ventricular pressure, which is increased, and in the case the right-sided heart failure also occurs. So this is the pathophysiology of the same type of the pathophysiology as the other diseases. The clinical features is that the mild to moderate aortic regurgitation, usually asymptomatic, these people, but in awareness of the heartbeat, palpitations are the problem in these cases, which result from the increased stroke volume. Severe aortic regurgitation will cause the angina, it will cause breathlessness. And signs, the pulse are the collapsing pulse or water abdominal pulse, low diastolic and increased pulse pressure, high pulse pressure, in this case bounding peripheral pulse. There are a lot of signs, capillary pulsation, inhale base, Quincke sign. There is a female brew, pistol shot, murmur, which is called the Rosale sign, and head nodding with the pulse, which is called Demas sign, which is a very common sign which we elaborated in the severe type of the aortic regurgitation. Other signs are there. Fourth heart sound can be present, displays heaving capacity, etc. But they are not important. The murmur is the diastolic murmur. Second heart, it is associated with the second heart sound. Systolic murmur can be occurred because of the increased stroke volume, it can be associated. But the diastolic murmur is the murmur which you can demonstrate it by putting the stethoscope on the aortic area and ask the patient to bend forward, and he should inspire and then expire and hold the breath properly. Then you can appreciate this murmur very well. There is ostensibly murmur also there in the mitral area because of the stretching of the anterior leaflet of the mitral valve. Investigation ECG initially normal, but the left ventricular hypertrophy occur ultimately and T-wave inversion occur. Chest X-ray will show the heart is much enlarged. This is one condition we call bovine heart. Heart is a very, very big heart. Now echo dilated left ventricle and the hyperdynamic left ventricle and fluttering anterior mitral leaflet you see. And the Doppler detects the reflex and the cardiac catheterization, the dilated left ventricle and the aortic agitation and the dilated aortic root you will find. Management and treatment, you will see the treatment of the initial condition like endocarditis or the syphilis should be treated, or you should reduce the preload, you should reduce the afterload. The same medical management, you will give the penicillins, long-acting penicillin for whole life because other valves can be involved. The ultimate treatment is the replacement of the valve. You have to replace the valve in the young people, the mechanical valve, and in the old people, the tissue valve. Now, tricuspid valve will be involved as stenosis, which is very rare condition. It is usually congenital stenosis, and in some cases it is due to the rheumatic heart disease. In very rare condition, it may be associated with autoimmune disease. The tricuspid stenosis, the same features occurs as mitral stenosis on that side. That is, there will be S1 is loud on that side, and there will be the diastolic murmur occur on that side, on the right side. Same feature on the right side. And the treatment is one. The medical treatment you go the same. But the thing is this, you have to replace the valve. This is the treatment of choice. Tricuspid regurgitation is always secondary. This is not primary. It is due to the high pulmonary pressure. Secondary or primary pulmonary hypertension will cause the increased right ventricular pressure, and it will cause the tricuspid regurgitation. Tricuspid regurgitation, there will be pansystolic murmur in the right parasternal border. This is the classical finding. The treatment is that you have to manage the primary condition, and if it is not possible, then you have to replace the valve. The pulmonary valve disease are again rare. Pulmonary stenosis are part of the congenital heart diseases. There are many congenital heart diseases which is associated with the pulmonary stenosis. In rare cases, it may be associated with the rheumatic heart, or in very, very rare cases, it may be associated with autoimmune disease. Again, in the same way, the same features we find as aortic stenosis. That is, will be the murmur of the systolic region, systolic murmur in the pulmonary area, which is radiated on the other side of the neck. And the thing is that the pulmonary stenosis means that the blood is not going into the lungs properly. So there will be definitely hypoxia will cause problems in these patients. The pulmonary stenosis will be managed on the same as the mitral stenosis. The medical management will be the same, and the surgical management should be done. It should be replaced. The valve should be replaced. If young people, the mechanical valve; the old people, the tissue valve. The pulmonary regurgitation is always secondary. Remember, it is a secondary phenomenon because of the pulmonary pressure, high pressure, secondary pulmonary hypertension. I thank you that you have listened to the valvular heart diseases, and I am expecting that you have understood which I have told you. Only thing you should remember are the mitral stenosis, mitral regurgitation, aortic stenosis and aortic regurgitation. Otherwise the tricuspid stenosis, tricuspid regurgitation, pulmonary stenosis and pulmonary regurgitation, they are rare phenomena, or usually they are the secondary phenomena. So the first four conditions are important and they should be repeated. You should learn from the book after this presentation and compare my lecture with the book. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.